up, y'all? Welcome back to Clutch Take. I'm the one and only Titus J. Cleveland. Let's get into it, man. It's been a rough couple of days. Just getting back into the motions of things. But we're gonna get started with the All-Star fully completed roster. Okay, last night the All-Star reserves were selected. In the West, you had Chris Paul from Oklahoma City Thunder. You had Brandon Ingram, the rising star from New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, you had Donovan Mitchell, okay, the rising star in Utah. Okay, they placed themselves into the 4th spot in playoff contention when they had trouble at the beginning of the season trying to get it together. Okay, Donovan Mitchell has showed up. He's an all-star. Russell Westbrook, okay, people didn't really think that dynamic duo was how it was going to happen. Okay, Russell Westbrook has been playing lights out these past couple of months, so he got the all-star nod. Nikola Jokic, the big man in Denver, okay, the glue of that team is what makes that team go. Of course, he was going to get the nod as great as he's been playing this season so far. Then as well, you got Rudy Gobert, okay, the Eiffel Tower, the defensive big, okay, the shot blocker, didn't make the All-Star team last year, so he had something else to prove, something to make sure that he made it this year, and he did. So congratulations to the guy, okay. And in the East, you had Kyle Lowry, the point guard of the Toronto Raptors, make the All-Star team, okay. As well, you had Chris Middleton, the dynamic duo to Giannis Antetokounmpo, as well, made the All-Star team. Bam Adebayo, a first-year All-Star, okay. This season was his breakout year, in my opinion. Definitely showed that he has other tools in his disposal. Definitely, I'm proud of him. So he gets the All-Star nod as well. Jimmy Butler, his dynamic duo partner in Miami, also gets the nod where he's been leading that Miami's team. Definitely, that can't go unnoticed, okay. Definitely, you give the nod to Jimmy Butler. He should have been a starter, but we're gonna let that go. Ben Simmons, okay, you've seen how he's been performing while Joel Embiid's been out. We've seen how he can be able to perform when he has the space, when he has the shooters. So definitely Ben Simmons gets that nod, and he is going to continue to get All-Star selections in his career down the line. As well, you got Jason Tatum, the rising star, who I knew eventually was going to become an All-Star. I think he should have been an All-Star last year, but that's my opinion. But definitely, he finally got his first selection in this year, okay. Definitely, my opinion, I think Jaylen Brown got snubbed as well. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. And then finally, you got Sabonis, okay, the forward from Indiana, okay, who in my opinion, who's really been a underrated type of guy, underrated type of big, okay, really was a big factor while Oladipo's been out, okay, keeping the Pacers in playoff contention. Pacers really wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for Sabonis, Brogdon, and all those important pieces to that team. Now that we got the starters, the reserves out the way, okay, the fans did the starters, they got who they want. The coaches and media did the reserves, they got who they want. But I have a problem with this list, okay. I like it, I don't love it, and I'm gonna tell you the reasons why. The Eastern Conference, or the East All-Star team, okay, I feel like there are two guys who are questionable. They should not have made it. In my opinion, they have not put up All-Star numbers for the most part of this season, all right? And those two people are, in my opinion, Kyle Lowry and Chris Middleton. I'm sorry. I'm going to start off with Chris Middleton, okay? Yes, Chris Middleton putting up 20 points a game, okay? Averaging 6 rebounds, 4 assists. But if you really think about it, man, I know about three other guys in the NBA who's putting up, if not more, with less of talent. Okay, like you have Chris Middleton, who's supposed to be the second option behind Giannis. Okay, Giannis putting up at least 25 points or more. All right, and your second option is only putting up 20. If you're a second option, you can't be only putting up 20 points. If your main focus guy is putting up 30, 28 points a night, why are you averaging 20 points? That you should be at least getting 25. You should be feeding off of his presence when he steps onto the court. So the fact that you only have 20, averaging 20 a game, that's questionable. That's not all-star like. That's not all-star numbers, okay? Definitely, I know a couple of guys who I would have put ahead of Chris Middleton in that all-star spot. And number one goes to Zach LaVine. Okay, Zach LaVine this season has played 50 games. Okay, he plays for the Chicago Bulls, who are, in my opinion, are a terrible, terrible team right now. Okay, they still have a lot of young guys in their roster trying to develop that. But if you look at Zach LaVine's game, okay, and the fact that this man is averaging 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, while literally he's the only person on that Chicago Bulls team that's averaging over 20 points a game. The only person. When you have that talent, skill, and that much talent on one team, well, lack of talent on one team, and you see one guy who's standing out and putting up 20 points, dropping 30, dropping records that we've never seen before. Zach LaVine is an all-star, okay? And the fact that because his team record shows it so poorly, that shouldn't be the reason why Zach LaVine's enough. Like, if we was to switch the scenarios, put Chris Middleton on the Chicago Bulls, put Zach LaVine with Giannis, how much better did the Milwaukee Bucks just get? Okay, so that just shows you that Chris Middleton is only, in my opinion, is only an all-star because of the team that he's on, okay, and exposure that he gets. If you put Chris Middleton on a low average or below average team, Chris Middleton is not talked about. And the fact that Zach LaVine is averaging this month alone 30 points a game. The man is putting up 30 points a game for this entire month, okay? And no one else is averaging 20 points on that team. And you don't give him the All-Star nod? I'm sorry, that is literally, in my opinion, that shows lack of intelligence, lack of awareness of the type of guys that's in this league. Okay, like you cannot have a person averaging 30 in the month of January not make the All-Star team. All right, another guy I was throwing in, Bradley Beal. Okay, Bradley Beal this season's averaging 28 points a game with 6 assists. Okay, yes, like I said, same thing with Zach LaVine, playing with a terrible team, very young, trying to get there, trying to find who they are, trying to still get into the way of their system. John Wall's out, hasn't played at all this season because of his torn Achilles. All right, Bradley Beal is the only option. Okay, so when you're the only option on a basketball team, it should be a lot harder to score the basketball, okay? Because they know, the defense knows that you're the only person who can score the basketball. And the fact that this man is averaging 28 points and 6 assists for the entire season, that shows disrespect. Bradley Beal, in his own words, said it was disrespectful. And I agree. You cannot have a man averaging 20 points a game, 28 points a game, and not get an all-star. That's all-star number like. Regardless of which conference, what team you play for, how bad they're playing, that bona fides an all-star. 25 plus? Come on, man. You crazy? Are you crazy? Third guy I would throw in there, all right? Now, yes, he's not a perennial starter every single day, okay? But Derrick Rose in the past past couple of games this month has scored 20 or more points in the last 13 games of this season. It is a month. My apologies, all right? When's the last time Derrick Rose been putting up these numbers, all right? Derrick Rose is literally, his stat line this season is in comparison to his MVP season. That's a huge improvement from where Derrick Rose had to go. And not even that, the man's from Chicago, and you didn't even give him the respect to give him the nod. Now, I'm not going to say that all-star selection should be based off of respect and just because you're from there. But my God, the man averaged 20 points a game for the past 13 games straight. Like, bro, when's the last time Chris Middleton or Kyle Lowry, like these guys, in my opinion, aren't all-star numbers, okay? Kyle Lowry, the man's only played 36 games this season, okay? And in these 36 games, Kyle Lowry has put up 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists, okay? Now, if you're gonna say, oh, that's good enough, that's good, okay. So let me just ask you, is Fred VanVleet an all-star? Because if you say no, let me tell you what Fred VanVleet's numbers are, okay? Fred VanVleet's averaging 18 points a game, averaging 4 rebounds with 7 assists. Their stat line is identical, okay? And the fact that Kyle Lowry gets the nod and Fred VanVleet don't, when literally Fred VanVleet, who has, in my opinion, has shown more progress this season than last season compared to Kyle Lowry. Remember, when Kyle Lowry went down this season with an injury, Fred VanVleet was one of the main guys alongside Pascal Siakam who kept this Raptors team in the float. Fred VanVleet, in my opinion, is an all-star caliber type of player. I just feel like the fact that the Eastern is so loaded with guards and high talented guards that he gets overlooked. But if you're going to give Lowry the nod, then you got to give Fred VanVleet the nod as well, because their numbers are literally identical, only with 2 points off in scoring. That shows that Kyle Lowry's not an all-star. He's not. He's not. It's just the fact he plays on a high competitive team who gets a lot of exposure. So the fact that he gets a lot of exposure, is on TV a lot, that means that he gets more recognition. And I don't consider that's fair, because like I said, when you got Derrick Rose, you got Zach LaVine, you got Bradley Beal, who are literally putting up all-star numbers, but the fact that they play on a terrible team, you can't knock that. You can't knock that on them. They putting up their numbers. They playing all-star level basketball, and it's only right if you only honor these three guys with an all-star select. Like, for real, man. Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton, with all due respect, y'all not all-stars this year. I'm sorry, y'all not all-stars. Y'all not cutting it. It's plain and simple. Look at the stats. It doesn't add up. But the fact that, the team that you played for, in my opinion, I don't want to say they carried you, but it's like you getting exposure off of that because of Giannis, because of the Raptors and Pascal Siakam and how great they are and how they just came off a title run. Okay, that's the reason why they, in my opinion, get the all-star nod, because they play in better team situations, all right? But like I said, if you take Kyle Lowry, you take Chris Middleton off these teams, and you put Zach LaVine, you put Bradley Beal on any of these teams have just improved tremendously. Like, it's not even a question. And that just shows you who's really an all-star and who's not. The West, I didn't have a problem with. That West team. Like I said, the West is a different story. There's so much guards and so much talent in the Western Conference that it makes it hard to go off of talent. It's so hard to go off of talent and the numbers that you put up in the Western Conference, because you got guys like Damian Lillard, you got guys like James Harden, you got guys like Russell Westbrook, you got guys like Donovan Mitchell. All these guys, all these guards who can put up big numbers. And when it comes down to this situation, in my opinion, I feel like coaches and the media, they look at the team's overall record, because that's the only thing, in my opinion, you can look at when it comes to it. Because if all these guards is putting up the same stat lines and they all look identical, what are you going to base it off of? The team's record and how they're playing. And that's why, in my opinion, I feel like Devin Booker got snubbed again. And I'm going to tell you why and what needs to happen in my latest segment with that. But in the Western Conference, I have no issues with this selection. Like I said, the talent is overloaded in the West, so it makes it a lot harder to go off of. So that's why, in my opinion, they go with the team record as the final decision. But in that Eastern Conference reserves, man, like I said, Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton are not all-stars this year. Point blank, period. In my opinion, I would go with at least Derrick Rose, Zach LaVine, or even Bradley Beal. I'll put Bradley Beal first, Zach LaVine second, and Derrick Rose third, in that order. But Chris Middleton and Kyle Lowry are not no all-stars. That's my take for that. I'll see you guys for my next segment.